lifestyle.
When Nia Riley and Soulja Boy's relationship was first introduced on Love and Hip Hop Hollywood, it appeared to be an average romantic storyline, with Nia being portrayed as the supportive girlfriend of a rising rapper. However, as the show progressed, it became clear that their relationship was far from ideal. Soulja Boy's behavior toward Nia, his public disrespect, infidelities, and emotional manipulation created a toxic environment that led to significant stress for Nia. Soulja Boy's fame and wealth made him a powerful figure in the relationship, and Nia often found herself in the position of being a loyal partner to a man who didn't treat her with the respect or care she deserved. His actions, including flirting with other women and disrespecting Nia on social media, caused immense emotional strain. Despite the toxicity of the relationship, Nia often tried to reconcile and stay with Soulja Boy, despite even people in her family seeming like they were not pleased with her being with him. Even as he continued to mistreat her, there was a struggle that increased by the fact that their relationship played out on national television, adding a layer of public scrutiny to this already vulnerable situation. As the relationship wore on, viewers began to notice physical changes in Nia Riley, particularly her weight gain. While weight gain is often attributed to a variety of factors, it is well documented that emotional stress, anxiety, and depression can all contribute to significant changes in physical health. During her time on Love and Hip Hop Hollywood, Nia was frequently seen looking stressed and emotionally drained. The emotional turmoil from Soulja Boy's manipulative behavior took a toll on her health. Stress can increase cortisol levels in the body, a hormone that, when produced in excess, can contribute to weight gain, particularly around the abdomen, according to the Mayo Clinic. As Nia dealt with Soulja Boy's infidelities and public humiliation, it's clear that these emotional wounds translated into physical changes. This weight gain became a visible symbol of the emotional strain she was under, showing how toxic relationships can affect both the mind and the body. And studies have shown that people in toxic relationships are more likely to experience emotional eating as a way to manage their feelings. A study published in Psychosomatic Medicine in 2016, one of the most challenging aspects of Nia Riley's relationship with Soulja Boy was the psychological and the emotional manipulation that took place. Soulja Boy's actions, ranging from public humiliation to infidelity, left Nia feeling trapped in a toxic cycle. And despite the abuse, Nia was often seen on television trying to make the relationship work. Even though she seemed unsure of how to break free from the emotional grip Soulja Boy had on her, especially with him kind of being a father figure to her daughter. One of the most common tactics used by toxic partners is emotional manipulation, and Soulja Boy was no stranger to this. His actions often played on Nia's insecurities, making her feel as though she was a problem or that no one else would want her. This form of manipulation can be emotionally draining and difficult to escape from. In a 2018 study published in Violence Against Women, it was noted that many women in abusive relationships struggle with the fear of abandonment and rejection. Nia likely felt these emotions, contributing to her inability to break free from Soulja Boy's toxic hold. A psychological aspect that also contributes to the cycle of abuse is gaslighting, a term that refers to manipulating someone into questioning their reality. Soulja Boy often portrayed himself as the victim in the relationship, which left Nia questioning her own feelings and actions, and this emotional manipulation caused significant confusion and self-doubt, which honestly nobody deserved. In 2018, Nia Riley and Soulja Boy participated in Marriage Boot Camp Hip Hop Edition, a reality show designed to help couples work through their issues. The show provided a public platform for them to confront the deep-rooted problems in their relationships, though a lot of people were not convinced that they were even engaged, and a lot of people on the show probably was just there for a check. Nonetheless, we saw both partners confronting issues head-on in front of the cameras. While the show claimed that it was there to help the couples, it basically highlighted just how far the couple's relationship had deteriorated. Soulja Boy's anger and aggressive behavior often took center stage, with Nia appearing to be emotionally broken and worn down. At one point, Soulja Boy even made remarks about being unsure of his feelings for Nia, while she appeared visibly distressed and fearful. The experience of being on marriage boot camp was a catalyst for Nia's realization that she needed to take control of her life. The show painted a clear picture of the emotional manipulation and control in the relationship. It also demonstrated how challenging it can be to break free from a toxic partner, particularly when the relationship is defined by cycles of abuse and reconciliation. By airing their issues on Marriage Boot Camp, Soulja Boy and Nia Riley's relationship became a focal point for public discussion about toxic love. The portrayal of their relationship sent a dangerous message to young viewers about what constitutes love. Toxic dynamics and reality TV relationships can contribute to unhealthy perceptions of love, leading younger audiences to equate love with dysfunction and emotional distress. According to the National Domestic Violence Hotline, 1 in 4 women will experience some form of intimate partner violence in their lifetime, including emotional abuse. Television portrayals of toxic relationships can reinforce unhealthy dynamics by normalizing them as part of the narrative of love. Unfortunately, Marriage Boot Camp and similar shows may perpetuate this cycle by treating abuse as a spectacle rather than addressing it as a serious issue. In addition to the emotional turmoil Nia endured, Soulja Boy has been involved in other legal incidents.
You guys probably see him on TV a lot. He makes a lot of rounds. He was able to fit me in on this, so I appreciate it. But Nima, thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
Good, Megan. Thank you for having me. Glad to be on. I know you have spent a lot of time in that courtroom, so yes. I appreciate all your efforts to cover the case.
Yeah, it was an interesting case for sure. Good verdict. I mean, I know you were hoping for more in punitive damages, but overall, what can you say about the verdict and this win for your firm?
Well, it's certainly a win when you have a defendant who's calling your client a lying, disgruntled ex. So, the offer before trial was $100,000. So when you get a $4.25+ million verdict on an offer like that, that's fantastic. When you have your client vindicated and the jury says that she was sexually abused and she was physically assaulted and she didn't make all this up, that's certainly a win. Obviously, you can kind of look at the previous case that Kayla Myers brought, and that was, the judgment in that case was approximately 10% of what we got. So, if you look at all those different factors, this was definitely a win for Jane Doe. Obviously, we want more. We always want more. But, we'll certainly take this and a win. And we're going to move forward with the second Jane Doe lawsuit, which was actually consolidated with this case at the 11th hour. They filed a motion of severance. Judge Epstein granted it. But we were supposed to have 2 Jane Does in one lawsuit. But we'll get to have another trial, which I'm sure Megan's going to cover as well.
Yeah, I'll look forward to that. So you said their offer before trial was $100,000. Did you have an offer on your side? Was there a number that you were looking for them to offer to settle?
Well, we did. We made an offer compromise in 998 in the $2 million range, and we between $2 and $3 million, we beat that as well. So because there was an offer to compromise that we beat by almost 2x, they're gonna have to pay for our costs. And then, of course, under California law, whenever there's a FEHA claim, sexual harassment, there's wage claims. We also get our attorney fees as well. So when you add all that up, the cost, the interest, prejudgment, the attorney fees, looking at potentially, $1, $2, $3 million on top of that judgment as well. So.
Now, you may have seen Soulja Boy's comments about how he's vowing to appeal, and I know you probably expect an appeal in this case, but can you talk about what you think the issues would be and if there's any merit or possibility of something happening on appeal?
People can always appeal. That's their absolute right. I don't see any appellate issues. I mean, you were in court when the judge called it very, very fair. There was nothing that really came in terms of evidence that was improper from our perspective. Really, this is a case that came down to likability and credibility, which, Megan, a lot of cases come down to, right? I mean, there's so many cases. You can say Johnny Depp won, as soon as he took the stand, and Amber Heard took the stand. A$AP Rocky case, right? The victim was not likable, not credible. We all knew watching what was going to happen in both of those cases, right? One civil, one criminal. And in this case, you have, the Soulja Boy in court was very different from the Soulja Boy in deposition, right? That's why folks that are watching, if you're lawyers, you can learn a thing or two, videotape those depositions in important cases, because you can really use that at trial. And I think he was really impeached in terms of wearing fake glasses, taking the acting lessons. I don't think that the jurors really found him credible. And when you have a Jane Doe who's telling a very personal story and being vulnerable about how she was physically and sexually abused, she's crying on the witness stand, she's crying when doctors and mental health professionals, and even during my colleague Ron Zambrano's closing argument, where he's talking about how she's beaten, punched, kicked, cut. I think that's what the jurors saw, and I think that's why they returned the verdict that they did.
This incident reflected the cycle of violence and toxic behavior that he was accused of engaging in, and it further revealed the patterns of abuse that plagued his relationship with Nia. As of now, there's no evidence to suggest that Nia Riley ever filed a lawsuit against Soulja Boy for his actions during the relationship, though her struggles were documented on television. However, the public exposure of their troubled relationship in the media and the apparent lack of intervention from authorities or networks raises significant concerns about the treatment of women in abusive relationships, particularly when they are caught in cycles of manipulation and control, especially with rich men.
Nia Riley.
Yeah.
And Soulja Boy have had a lot of drama. Nia's your daughter.
Yes.
When you hear some of the stories, Nia claimed that Soulja Boy kicked her in the stomach while she was pregnant, put a gun to her head, that type of thing. As a father, how does that affect you?
Well, let me say this. Soulja Boy knows who I am. And he knows I'm deep. He knows I'm very deep. We had an altercation. I was called a lot of names, and I got an apology. I'm looking for an apology for what he's done to my daughter. I'm looking for that. As a man, I'm looking for that. And I think she deserves it. Not even me. Because here's someone who really stuck behind him, did the show for him, because she thought this was going to happen and it was going to be them. I watched them live together and I didn't know all of that was going on. So I think if he were to be a man, a true man, which you rarely find a lot of them out there, who are able to really become a man and have a heart to say something as that equals to an apology, to make it right. If you don't, you reap what you sow. You reap what you sow. I've been in relationships. I have 9 children. And one thing I'll never do is fight a woman.
Yeah.
Ever. The one thing that'll hurt them the most is me walking away. And that's what I did. I'll walk away. Women are earth. But I don't think a lot of people, take that seriously.
Like verbally abuse you?
Yeah, absolutely. I know a few years ago after marriage boot camp, I did an interview. And I didn't go into details or say much. And I think because I wasn't ready mentally. And I wasn't healed. It was like I wasn't healed. And so I never spoke on it. But it was physical abuse, mental abuse.
Physical abuse.
Absolutely. There was people that were there. People have seen it. They know. Even his old friends have posted about it and said things. And a lot of blogs just look over it. Like it wasn't a big deal. It didn't happen. And I think that was a big reason why I never wanted to speak on it either. Because it was like I was being abused over and over again. Like I wouldn't just say him, but even like the media. And it was like, how am I the bad person?
Eventually, Nia Riley did take control of her own life. She broke up with Soulja Boy and started focusing on her own health, happiness, and career. This marked a turning point for her, not only in her relationship with Soulja Boy, but also in her personal journey to reclaim her self-worth. Nia has since spoken about her decision to leave the toxic relationship, emphasizing the importance of self-love and self-care. While the process of healing takes time, she is now focused on her own mental and emotional health, something that was sorely neglected during her time with Soulja Boy. Nia's journey serves as an important lesson for others in toxic relationships, showing that it is possible to reclaim your power and rebuild your life after emotional turmoil. The story of Nia Riley and Soulja Boy is one of pain, resilience, and growth. Nia's struggle with stress, pain, and emotional turmoil is a testament to the deep impact that toxic relationships can have on mental and physical health. And it makes you wonder too, like how many other people going through this with rappers, like celebrities, but they like are quiet because they might want to bag. Not saying it was Nia Riley, but a lot of people be like, oh, I want to love like Dirk and woo woo woo, but they don't know what them girls going through, and vice versa. The question I have for you today is, what lessons can we learn from Nia Riley's experience in her relationship with Soulja Boy? And how can these lessons help others navigate toxic relationships in their own lives? Also, why do you think that this relationship or the situation wasn't really talked about as much? Do you think her not being light-skinned has something to do with it? Or do you think it's just a bunch of dynamics that are complex? Let me know down below. And thank you so much for listening to Books and Looks TV. I'll see y'all next time.